Be Quiet is known for making silent cases and have pushed more and more into not just silence, but pretty aesthetics. Today we review the Be Quiet Dark Base 700 and see how it stacks up. Let's do this. Shiny black brushed steel and actual tempered glass side window, and no, not a steel side with a window, the entire side is glass. And controllable LED lights with fan switches at the ready, plus this sucker is invertible. Is that a word? I think it is. Well, either way, you can take the motherboard tray, flip it upside down, and move it to the other side of the case. In essence, putting the window on the other side if you so choose. Something not seen in oodles of cases. Plus, of course, the case still has sound dampening material on the opposite side of the glass to reduce any rumblings your internals may produce, as well as the front and the top. Of course, you're still not going to hear their fans, as the two Silent Wings 3 140mm fans that come with the case have those funky doodle ribs on the blades that really do an incredible job of making them super silent. And if you want more fans, there is plenty of room. You can put two more 120 or 140mm fans in the front, 3 on the top, or a 120 on the bottom. This also seems like a good time to mention that the spaces for the fans in both the front and bottom also have easily removable nylon washable filters to make accumulated dust buildup a breeze to take care of, which I should mention are both accessed by pulling the front panel off. Again, Be Quiet thought ahead by installing a quick connect for the RGB at the bottom of the panel itself. More into radiators for liquid cooling? Why not? The front has room for anything from a 120 to a 360mm rad, as does the top, and even the rear can support a 120 or 140mm rad. I myself installed a Be Quiet 360mm radiator on the top of the CPU for cooling. As there is room for a push-pull configuration, I decided to do all my testing with the fans that came with the liquid cooler itself, so I just ran the 3. Let's not skip over the ports and switches on the front of the case though. It has two USB 3.0 plugs, one USB 3.1 Type-C, which I need an adapter for my motherboard for, but that was doable. HD audio, so that's headphones and a mic, a 4-step fan controller, and an RGB control switch. I'm gonna derail the review for just a moment, as this was my first hiccup in the build and I want to explain why. The RGB lighting button changes the colors of the lighting and effects easily on the front and sides of the case, but I wanted to control it from the software on my motherboard. You would think that piece of instructions would be easy to find. It wasn't, as cycling through the button presses to find it was not working at all. Luckily, after some internet digging, I found that you have to hold the button in for like 6 seconds. Then, and only then, is it controlled from your board. Otherwise, you can still adjust the lighting from white, red, green, blue, orange, and purple, as well as fades in and out, but it may not be doing the things like the breathing effect. I digress, and there is still a lot to talk about. For example, the size of the case itself. The Dark Base 700 is classified as a mid-tower, but it is on the larger size of mid. 241mm wide, 519 tall, and 544 deep. Because it has that room, it can accommodate power supplies up to 285mm in length, or 11.5 inches. But if you're running that long, you may have to adjust some of the internals. The case can be equipped with coolers up to 7 inches or 180mm tall, and can accommodate multiple graphics cards up to 430mm or 16.9 inches in length. I should mention there are no handles, and the vents are located along the front edges, the very back of the top, and of course the entire bottom is one big vent with the filter. Plus, of course, the 140mm fan that is blowing on the back. Now let's see, there are 7 expansion slots for either multiple video cards or whatever else you might decide to install. And of course, it also comes with 2 slots for vertically mounting a GPU, although there is no PCI Express riser cable included. There are mounting locations for a total of 7 3.5-inch hard drives and 14 2.5-inch drives, but because this chassis only ships with 3 modular drive racks, only 3 3.5-inch drives and 9 2.5-inch drives can be installed in this chassis, as it ships directly from the factory. Now, 2 drive racks are mounted under the PSU tunnel, although these removable drive racks can be relocated to one of the 5 located in the main compartment of the chassis over here. Be Quiet also includes handy plastic slot covers that block off the holes in the motherboard tray when not in use. Now, I decided to go all out with Be Quiet on this build and use the Dark Power 12 850 watt power supply along with Pure Loop 360 liquid cooler. I mounted the 360 radiator on the top of the case, as said before, blowing up. But if I ever decide to liquid cool my GPU, I've still got lots of room to run a radiator in the front or a smaller one in the back. The Pure Loop 360 is very unobtrusive, and although the block that sits on top of the CPU glows white, the rest is all black and totally silent. In fact, I was nervous the first time I powered it on, as I thought the pump wasn't working. It was, it's just that quiet. I should also note that Be Quiet included a bottle of liquid that they recommend you top the cooler off with about a year after installation to make sure that you've got top of the line performance and you don't get a decrease over time. The fully modular Dark Power 12 850 watt power supply was a breeze to install, and I love the extra touch of all the cable ties and tie-off points. I really am a big fan of Be Quiet. My only complaint, if you can call it that, is based on the price of the case itself. I wish they included a few more of their funky finned silent wing fans. The reduced noise, as in forgetting that my computer is running directly beside me, is worth lots. I personally really like the sleek aesthetics, and that is a BFG review of the Darkbase 700. If you have any questions on anything I either didn't cover or something you'd like more info on, leave them down below and I will do my very best to get back to you as soon as I can. Thank you so much for watching another Barefoot Gaming review, and I will talk to you again really soon. See ya.